We have made it to the month of September here in year number 5 of the Chicago White Sox franchise here on MLB The Show 25. The final chase for the postseason is on. The White Sox currently hold a playoff spot, but not comfortably. We are tied for the lead in the division with Minnesota. We're right in the mix in the wild card push, coming off a pretty strong month of August where in our most important series we performed pretty well. We went 4-3 against Kansas City, 2-1 against Minnesota. We swept Cleveland, but we did lose some momentum, getting swept by Baltimore, a team who leads the AL East and looks like they're going to get the number 2 seed. Our schedule in September is very front-loaded. The first 4 series are all against possible playoff teams. After that, though, it gets a lot easier. So if we can get out of these first 2 weeks alive and somewhat well, we have a favorable schedule to finish out the year with some bad teams like the Rockies and the Nationals. We're tied with Minnesota for first in the division. The Royals and Cleveland are right there. We are currently the number 2 wild card, technically tied with Minnesota as well. The Royals and Red Sox are tied at 3. Boston would be out in this scenario, though, so the screen looks a little bit misleading. It says the Astros are 2 back, but really the Red Sox are the first team out, so that means we're only a game and a half in the playoffs. During the trade deadline, we added Taj Bradley from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's having a career year, and our rotation's been a weak spot for us this year. So far, I think he's been pretty solid through 5 starts. 4 of them were quality outings. I think he's been pretty good. Keep in mind, he is a rental. Both him and Bryce Miller are both free agents at the end of the year. We also made a big addition to the lineup, adding Cam Smith from the Astros. He's not actually a 96 overall. That was his wheel boost for August. I think he's actually like an 86, which is still a good get. A versatile chess piece who can play a bunch of different positions and is having a career year offensively with 2 additional seasons of team control after this one. Now, we traded away some solid prospects. Seamus Garrison, who was number 9 in the Rays system, and Connor Belliard, who's 16. With the Astros, we sent away Jeff Argue, who's the 11th ranked guy in their farm. In our system, though, he was like 5th or 6th or something. Our farm is not the strongest. The Astros, meanwhile, is really good. They got a couple other strong prospects from us as well who were in our top 20, but just miss out on theirs. Our farm system is lacking at the moment, especially after some of the trades we've made in the last year or so. But we replenished in the draft. Bruno Merced, 79 overall, 94 potential. The question is, would he be a long-term reliever with Ezra? Do we move Ezra into the rotation? Do we move Bruno into the rotation? Odell Herring and Richie Lindsey both have a potential as well. You can easily argue that these 3 guys now become the 3 best prospects in the system. So we really rebuilt the farm, or at least the top of the farm, in one draft. Even though we had a big trade deadline, that doesn't mean the other contenders were quiet. Jared Jones and James Wood are now in our division. Wood has not played yet for Minnesota. His injury went through August, but he's now healthy. Ahmed Rosario goes to the Rangers. The Athletics were very aggressive, adding Matt McLain, Christopher Sanchez, and Parker Meadows. The 2 guys they got from Detroit, McLain and Meadows, are currently on the IL, though. Ellie De La Cruz is now with the Philadelphia Phillies. Mason Miller goes to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then the biggest of them all, Paul Skeens, is a San Francisco Giant. So with that, we have 1 month to go. We have roughly 28 games left. We're currently tied for the division lead, the number 2 wild card in the AL. We're only a game and a half in the playoffs, though. We do not comfortably hold a spot in the postseason. The National League, of course, is a lot more top-heavy. The Mets, Phillies, Cubs, Giants, and Dodgers all look comfortable in terms of getting a playoff spot. And then the Marlins currently at the 3rd wild card, but Milwaukee's within a game. The Diamondbacks are kind of in the mix. The Reds and Padres maybe as well. But as we look at where we are, I do feel somewhat confident in our team, especially if we play well early in the month, and we have been pretty good since the trade deadline, despite getting swept by the Orioles. The addition of Cam Smith has been a really good one. Granted, his ratings have been boosted, and now he's going to come back down to normal. The key for us, though, is going to be consistency in terms of the pitching. I like what Taj Bradley has given us, but Drew Thorpe and Noah Schultz, we've got to get more good starts from those guys. Hagen Smith will be a reliever for the rest of the year. He's been obviously super hurt this season, and there's no one in the rotation I feel like we can really replace him with. I do plan on keeping him as a starter long term, but for this year, he's going to go to the pen. We also signed Joe Jimenez as well. The reason why we did that is because we lost a lot of guys in the bullpen. Brock Burke and Penn Murphy suffered season-ending injuries just days after we lost Jairo Iriarte on waivers to the Reds. So that's 3 guys who have been in the bullpen all year who we no longer have. So the pen, which has been by far the strength of the team, is going to look a lot different the final month of the year. Of course, Cam Smith was our wheel spin for August. He took advantage of his lucky spin, but his rating will be going back down to an 86, which is still quite good. I mean, this is what we ultimately traded multiple good prospects for. As for our spin for September, in terms of the guy who I think his performance will largely depict how good our team is, I think that's Noah Schultz, who has, let's cut to the chase, not been very good this year. WAR of .3, he's been essentially replacement level for us. He started the year slow, and he's gotten worse as the season has gone along. Keep in mind, his $125 million extension has not yet kicked in. We are certainly having second thoughts about that deal, but he's on our team for the next 6 years, so we've got to roll with him in the rotation. Crisscross, swap walks per 9 with Ks per 9 and hits per 9 with home runs per 9. Interesting. I feel like any kind of change is probably good for him. His hits per 9 goes down a lot, though, which I don't love. But his walks per 9 is now his biggest strength, so I guess it could be worse. Last episode, we spun for the NL West. We didn't get that many super interesting spins, but Gunnar Henderson did land on bombs away. He gets to add power for every home run he hits. He ended up with 4, so his power will go up by 4. The other interesting one was Brian Ortiz, and you'll notice he's not on an NL West team. Well, the Rockies traded him to the Cleveland Guardians. This is a historic moment in terms of the wheel. We've never had a player get traded during their wheel spin month. He hasn't had a great year, and unfortunately, that didn't really change over the month of August, despite his wheel spin. We have one more division to spin for. That is the American League West here in the month of September, which is probably the strongest division in the AL. And multiple teams here are direct competitors of ours, with the Astros and the Mariners in the mix for the wild card. The A's are currently the number 1 wild card. But we'll start with the Rangers, who are very clearly the favorite to make it out of the American League this year, looking to make it to the World Series for the 4th time in 5 years. Corey Seager's the MVP leader. Sandy Alcantara's the Cy Young leader. I don't think Seager should be in first. Jackson Holliday's WAR is 3 points higher, but I do think Sandy should be. 5 WAR for a pitcher in this game is like 8 WAR for a hitter, and that's still with another month to go. He's been unbelievable. He lands on untouched, no change, which with how good he's been this year, probably isn't a bad thing. So his ratings will completely stay the same. The Rangers will not be complaining about that. You can make an argument he should be the MVP. The Athletics have been very aggressive in terms of their team building over the last year or so, and it's worked. Some of their young guys have also taken strides, including first baseman Nick Kurtz, who made his first career All-Star team. Sure, he's not quite as good as he is in real life, but he's had a really strong season after kind of starting his career off pretty slow. He's turned into a pretty good hitter, still with room to get better. Ultimately, Kurtz lands on Coddle Me. Perform specific demands or trade player away. So in this case, the A's need to improve their winning percentage in September, or he will request a trade during the offseason. The Astros have been tough and gritty. I mean, their team isn't very talented, but they've been a lot better than expected. I feel like J.P. France is kind of the epitome of that. In and out of the rotation, he's played well when he's gotten the chance. I know his WAR is negative. I don't really think that tells the full story with him. I think he's been a really positive player this year for the Astros. He also lands on Coddle Me. So again, the Astros will need to up their winning percentage. Although, it's weird with him because he's a free agent anyway at the end of the year. So that wheel spin probably will end up being fairly irrelevant. The Mariners had the exact same record as the Astros, but the vibes are a lot different in Seattle because the Mariners were expected to be a lot better than the Astros, and the fact that they had the same record is not a good look on Seattle. They traded for Anthony Santander going into the year. He won the MVP last year in Toronto. This season, he missed the first 2 months with injury. He hasn't really played all that great when he's been healthy, certainly worse than last year. as ultimately he lands on struggle bus. Hitting stats will go down by 20 for the next 10 games. Not ideal. He's a 71. And then we have the Los Angeles Angels, who have been perpetually at the bottom of this division. Even a team like the Astros completely tore everything down, but they've rebuilt pretty quickly. The Angels just suck. Gabriel Moreno's been very disappointing throughout the entire series. He just really hasn't gotten better at all. I mean, he hasn't been completely dreadful this year. He's been fairly productive behind the plate defensively, but this was one of the top 3 prospects in baseball at one point, and his offense has just never really improved. Light work, all stats go up by 1. Not a big spin, but it certainly does not hurt, I suppose, as he is now an 81 overall, and we'll see if that potentially helps him through the rest of the year going into his 30s. With that, all focus is now in on the month of September for the Chicago White Sox. Our first 4 series of the month will not be easy. We start with the best team in baseball currently, the San Francisco Giants, then 4 against Cleveland. They are dragging on for dear life in the division. 3 in Minnesota against the Twins. We are tied with them for first place in the division, and then 3 games in Sacramento against the Athletics. So here in this first game against the Giants, we're up 4-1. Colson Montgomery has homered twice, and he's looking for a third. That ball is hit pretty well. Deep in the left center field. It's got some carry. At the track, at the wall, it is caught. Damn, I thought we got the hat trick. Colson's had a really good last month or so. He's been inconsistent throughout the year. I actually thought about trading him during the deadline, but he had a really good month of August. Ultimately, we end up winning the game 4-1. Montgomery homers twice. And Noah Schultz, in his first start with his crisscrossed rating changes, was actually pretty good. Hopefully a sign of things to come as we take the first against the best team record-wise in baseball. Schultz outperforms Paul Skeens, who allows 3 runs in 5 innings. Granted, he had 4 scoreless and then allowed, I guess, a pair of big hits to Colson and Edgar Caro. Noah Schultz, 7 1/3, only allowing 1 run, one of his best games of the year. Following that matchup, we have to add 2 guys to the roster. We're going to bring up Prelander Baroa, add him to the pitching staff. I really thought about Barney Wagner. I wouldn't be surprised if he does get called up before the end of the year, but he's on a cold streak. He has not been very good over the last week or so, so we're going to bring back up Chase Mydroff, who has dominated in AAA. It's just too easy for him, hitting around 330. He's also been kind of cold over the last 10 games, but he is big league proven. His numbers last year and this year basically identical. Ketel Marte is a triple shy of the cycle in a game that we lead 8-0. We did lose the second game, unfortunately, but it looks like we're going to win this series against the Giants, which is a really good start to the episode as Marte draws a walk. Did not get a pitch to hit, so we'll take our base. The Giants would add a run, but we win the game 8-1. Again, taking 2 of 3 against the best team in the league, we will gladly take that. That's the exact start to September that we needed. The pitching overall was really solid in this series, only allowing 6 runs. Bryce Miller, 8 innings of 1-run ball. He was fantastic in the win for the White Sox. And then the offense, 5 runs in the first inning, rattling Kyle Harrison, whose ERA is just shy of 7. Homers for Marte, Sanabria, Escobedo, and Shane Schmidt, the rookie now at 20 on the year. So now we approach our series with Cleveland. The Guardians are in the mix for a playoff spot, but they are quite a bit behind us in Minnesota. We won the first game. Here we are in the second. Tony Santillan comes out of the bullpen. We're tied at 5 in the top of the 9th with 2 away. For Travis Bazzana, who's had a career year, the former #1 pick from the land down under, as it's caught by Douglas Cato, and we've got a chance to walk it off here in the bottom of the 9th and add to this nice little win streak that we're kind of on. Well, ultimately, we would walk it off. Shane Schmidt, RBI single in the 10th, gets us the win. So we take the first 2 out of 4 against Cleveland. So worst comes to worst, we would split the series. Overall, really productive game. Again, the offense did their thing. Drew Thorpe was And then Ezra Valenzuela blew the save. He also allowed 2 runs in the previous game. I don't know what's going on with Ezra. He has not been good at all over the last month or so. His ERA since August 13th is at 9. It's kind of all or nothing with him. He either has a great game or he allows multiple runs and completely blows up. His ERA now at 3.29. For most of the year, it was in like the low 1s. Here we are in Game 3, same score, tied at 5 in the bottom of the 9th. Cam Smith looks to be the hero with a swing and a drive into left. That baby's out of here. A 3-run walk-off homer for Cam Smith. What a trade deadline acquisition this has been, especially after last year's moves at the deadline kind of flopped. Garrett Hampson wasn't good. Dean Kremer was fine, but he dipped after 2 months. Not only has Cam Smith played awesome and has clearly made a positive impact on this team, but we have him under contract for 2 more years after this one. I feel like the Astros liked their return of prospects, but if they were to go back in time, I don't know if they would have made this trade again. He has looked like an all-star for us and has a real shot to win a Silver Slugger this year at third base. The home run was not Smith's only big play of the game. He went 4 for 5, driving in 5 runs. Noah Schultz, meanwhile, was not all that impressive, but the bullpen was really good. So now we're going for the sweep. We're down 3-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Romeo Sanabria's up, and he's had a good game and a really good season. 2 for 3 in this one. I do trust him in this spot, but Corey Julks is available. And Corey Julks is, at worst, our 4th best hitter? We've got the bases loaded here against Hunter Gaddis. 2 away, down by 2, roped over to third, bobbled, throw to first is in time, and the White Sox leave him loaded. Pretends to be surprised. That was our chance to make a big play and go for the sweep, but we would get another opportunity in the bottom of the 9th. Marte and Cato reach. Gaddis still in the game. Luis Robert is up. He is 0 for 3 today. Lou Bob pops it up. That one's not going anywhere as it will be caught in foul territory. I thought about moving the runner up from second, and then I realized, no, we probably should not. A base hit probably scores him regardless here with 2 away. As they will take Gaddis out of the game, they'll bring in Hunter Harvey, 4.06 ERA and 57.2 innings. We'll see if Harvey can win the game for Cleveland. The rookie, Shane Schmidt, swing and a miss! And the Guardians avoid the sweep as they win the 4th and final game by a score of 3-1. Our offense certainly slowed down in this one after an impressive stretch earlier in this series against Cleveland. But again, we took 3 of 4 against a team who, if they had won 3 or 4 in this series, they really would have been able to gain some traction in the division. But since we took 3 here, I think we should be fine, at least in terms of Cleveland in the division. We out-hit them 13-5, but we did not do anything with runners on. Taj Bradley was solid, but not good enough, outplayed by Jack Flaherty, who threw 7 scoreless. So we go 5-2 in this homestand against the Giants and the Guardians. I'll gladly take that, bringing us up to 74-67, a game and a half above Minnesota in the division. The Royals are 4 back, Cleveland is 5 back. We're going to play the last game against the Twins. We'll hop into the first one, 5-4, as Ravel Valenzuela's already let up 1 run, in danger of blowing another save. David Santos, top of the order up with the tying run in scoring position as he's down 0-2. Santos, up the middle, that one's going to drop. Minnesota looks to tie it. Robert, the throw to the plate, is not in time. And Ezra Valenzuela blows yet another save as the all-star closer has imploded over the last month or so. Carlos Correa looking for the walk-off. Correa grounds it to third. Mydroth, throw to first is in time. So luckily Minnesota can't win the game here, but they score 2. Ezra's been rock solid ever since we drafted him this last month. So uncharacteristic for him as we go into the top of the 10th. Wow, a lot of action. The bases are loaded for Corey Julks. He grounded out with the bases loaded in our previous game against Cleveland. Hopefully he'll be a little more successful here. First pitch of the AB. Julks hits it well into center. That one will be caught. Should be enough room for the tag. Throw to the plate is not in time. That's Edgar Caro who slides in. Okay, we'll take that. A sac fly for Corey Julks as it's 6-5. That'll bring up Oswaldo Escobedo. He's 0 for 4 behind 1-2. Swinging a miss on the curveball. So the White Sox get 1. Could have been better. Doable comeback for Minnesota. But it could have been worse as well, given our track record. So we'll move into the bottom of the 10th. Dre Jameson is in the game. He's been fine with us. I don't know if that's the guy I would trust in this spot, but we'll see what he can do. He'll start with Brooks Lee, the 0-1. That one goes into left. That'll go for a hit. Runner heads to the plate. The throw from Julks is in time! Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Julks guns him down for the first out of the inning. Minnesota still has a runner aboard, though, as Andrew Vaughn is up. That pitch gets away from Teal. So after all that, Minnesota has their extra innings runner at second base anyway, here with one away. Base hit from Vaughn would possibly bring him in. I can't guarantee it, though, after the throw we just saw from Julks. As Vaughn goes down on the circle change, that's the King Vaughn White Sox know and probably dislike. So the game comes down to the catcher, Ryan Jeffers, the 0-1. That ball is hit high and deep into left. Julks under it at the track, and he makes the catch. The White Sox win the first in Minnesota 6-5, despite Ezra Valenzuela blowing his third save over our last 4 games. We somehow won all 3 of those games, though. The offense has been really clutch for us down the stretch. Ezra actually ends up getting the win, believe it or not. Very balanced game for us at the plate. We only had 7 hits, but we drew 8 walks. The plate discipline was really good. And the fact that we won this first game is really encouraging because now we're 2.5 up on Minnesota. So even if they win the last 2 games of the series, we would still have the lead in the division. But if we win these 2 games, we can really put ourselves in a good spot with a few weeks to go. So far, so good. Here in Game 2, we're up 3-0. Braden Montgomery is a triple shy of this cycle here in the top of the 7th. As that one is hit well, looks like it could go in the gap. May very well be a triple. Rounding first, Minnesota's going to look to relay it quickly, and we are going to hold at second base. I wanted to get the triple, but we have to play smart. This is not a random game in April. We're playing for the division here. Luckily, Bimo would get one more shot in the 9th. 2 runners on, and he launches the first pitch into right. I don't think he's hitting for the cycle, folks. That's not a triple. That's a moonshot. Second home run of the game for Braden Montgomery. He's 5 for 5 now with 4 extra base hits as the White Sox lead at 8-2, his 7th home run of the year. It's an 8-2 victory for the White Sox, who have taken the first 2 out of 3 in Minnesota. That's now a 3.5 game lead on the division. For this being a really tough stretch in the schedule, we are balling so far in this episode. We are 7-2 today. Braden Montgomery, the star of the show, 5 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. Corey Julks drove in a pair with a homer as well. And then 7 scoreless for Hayden Wisniewski. Normal day in the office for him. I mean, he just continues to be unbelievable. Although at this point, these types of outings are now the expectation for him. 3.5 up on Minnesota. It's been a great start to the episode. We're getting through the hard part of the schedule with ease as we look for the sweep here in the 3rd and final game. This would put us up by 4.5 in the division, which would be one of our biggest leads of the entire year. So there's a lot riding on this game. We can really put ourselves in a good spot going into the final couple of weeks with a rather easy schedule. This feels like a must-win game for Minnesota if they want to come back in this division. Everybody's within 6 games of each other, but if anyone were to pass us, Minnesota definitely is the best shot to do it. Let's take a look at both lineups in this one, 1-9. James Wood not in for Minnesota. He got hurt again. The poor guy, 3 long-term injuries in 1 year. Zebby Matthews is on the bump for the Twins. He's had a really good season. 2.86 ERA, 1.28 whip. Playing very well for the Twins. Corey Julks will get us started. 2-2 count, and Julks bloops this one into right center, and that will go for a hit. So Chicago leads off the inning with an early base runner. We'll see if they can get some early damage going. The offense playing some great ball here in the month of September as Cam Smith rips it into right. That goes for a hit. 2 early base runners for Chicago. Minnesota already feeling the pressure here in the top of the 1st inning. Runners on the corners now for Edgar Caro. This one is hit into left. That one's going to drop, and the White Sox are on the board here in the top of the 1st inning. An RBI single for Edgar Caro, And that'll make it 1-0. We're looking really good early in this one. Shane Schmidt now up behind 1-2, and he gets plunked. Charge the mound. Charge the mound. The bases are now loaded. Ketel Marte singles into left, and that'll make it 2-0. Wow, the White Sox actually did something with the bases loaded. Oswaldo Escobedo now, historically not a great clutch hitter, but this should be a sacrifice fly. Caro looks to score. He is safe. The other runner from second makes it over to third, and it's 3-0. We'll take that at bat from Waldo. Braden Montgomery coming off the best game of his big league career. 5 for 5, 2 homers, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs. That one is flipped over to first base. The Twins make the play. The White Sox score 3. However, in the top of the first, our offense is rolling early. Drew Thorpe on the bump for Chicago. Has not been a great year. I think he's played a little bit better, though, over his last few starts, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come for him. David Santos singles into left, so Minnesota gets the game started with a base runner of their own. They have a lot of damage control to do, already being down 3-0. Yanquiel Fernandez up for the Twins. Swinging to this on the circle change. Good pitch by Drew Thorpe. That'll bring up Carlos Correa. When we played against the Twins in August, he homered twice. This one's not a homer, but it will one hop off the wall in left field. Julks looks to relay the throw-in. Santos to the plate. That one is in time! The White Sox throw out another runner. Julks to the relay man, Marte at short, who throws down Santos at the plate. Brooks Lee now hits it high and deep into left. Julks at the wall. It is gone! 2-run homer for Brooks Lee, and Minnesota brings it within 1. No shortage of action in the first inning of this game. We get 3, but Minnesota's offense is throwing punches quickly in response. Matt Wallner gets it by the diving glove of Cam Smith for a base knock. Not a good start for Drew Thorpe. He's allowed 4 base runners within the first 5 batters. Andrew Vaughn, 2-2. Swing and a miss on the circle change. Well, that was an interesting first inning. Both teams with 4 hits each. The White Sox drive in 3. Minnesota gets 2. 3-2 in the top of the second as Douglas Cato chases the high fastball. Cato struggled early when he got back from injury, but finally is starting to look more like himself as Corey Julks goes down looking as well. Cam Smith now up for the White Sox. That one is belted into right center, and it'll roll to the wall. 117 off the bat. Smith will waltz his way into second with a double. Even with his ratings going down, Cam Smith really has not regressed. He's continued to play awesome for us. He's been one of our very best players since the month of August when we got him. Luis Robert goes down looking. Good pitch by Zebby Matthews. That'll get Minnesota out of the second unscathed as it remains 3-2. We'll go bottom half now. Ryan Jeffords leads things off for the Twins, only hitting 200 this year, but he gets that one into the opposite field gap. Lou Bob makes a bad angle on it. Not really going to do much of a difference there as Jeffers walks into second with a double anyway. 5 hits already for Minnesota. They're 5 for 7 to start the game. Gerard Encarnacion strikes out on the slider. Big pitch for Thorpe. He's got to get some momentum going. 2 away, runner on third for David Santos. Checks his swing. Pitch might have been in the zone anyway. And Thorpe gets his out of the second as we move into the third. Edgar Caro with an RBI single in his first at-bat. Swing and a miss on the fastball here this time. Zebby Matthews trying to get into a groove because much like Thorpe, he has not exactly looked great. Shane Schmidt bloops this one into left, and that one is going to fall. The Twins were too much playing the shift to the right side. That ended up working out quite well. Ketel Marte now blasts this one into right center. That one goes off the top of the wall. Schmidt, not the fastest, will have to hold up at third. But we've now got 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out and a nice chance to bring them in. Oswaldo Escobedo sac fly in his last at-bat. Looks like he might do it again. Caught in center. Schmidt not the fastest, but he will make it home. Oswaldo Escobedo, his first 2 at-bats, drives and runs off of sacrifices. We'll take that as it's now a 4-2 ball game. Braden Montgomery up with the runner now at third, and he chases the low circle change. BMO not quite replicating his big 5-for-5 outing yesterday. Sox had another run, though, as it's a 4-2 lead. Bottom 3. Thorpe started to look a little bit better as that second inning went along. Hopefully a sign of things to come. Not an ideal start. Yanquiel Fernandez singles into left, so the Twins start the inning with an early runner. And this is going to bring up the heart of the order. Carlos Correa doubled last time. He might have just doubled again. This one's going to take a long roll to the wall. And thus, as a result, the runner will score without much issue, as it's a 4-3 ball game, and Minnesota has the tying run at second base. Drew Thorpe needed to pick up some momentum after looking kind of solid in the second. That was not how you do it. Can we get more of this, please, as he strikes out Brooks Lee. One away now for Matt Wallner. This one lined over the glove of Schmidt. It is fair. That will tie the game. Correa is safe. Wallner slides into second. We're knotted up at 4. I think we have to take Drew Thorpe out now. I mean, he just hasn't really looked all that good today, and with how he's pitched throughout the year, how are we supposed to trust him? So Hagen Smith will come out of the bullpen. He's been adequate in his relief role. He hasn't been a liability. I wouldn't say he's excelled either. Ryan Jeffers over to third. Cam Smith makes the play. Throw to first is in time, so Hagen Smith does not allow any more runs. Minnesota does tie it, though, as Correa and Wallner each drive in runs, and we are knotted up at 4. Plenty of offense in this game so far as we go into the top of the 4th. Douglas Cato strikes out for a second time. Zebby Matthews still in the game here for Minnesota, as Corey Julks ropes this one down the line. That is a fair ball. That one will go off the wall. Julks into second safely with a 1-out double. So the White Sox have a runner now in scoring position, potentially looking to regain the lead, and it'll be against the new pitcher. Matthews' day is done. Jonah Tong will come in to replace him. Matthews allows 4 runs so far in 3 1/3 innings, which I guess is better than what Drew Thorpe did, given that he only lasted 2 1/3. Runner at third now, 2 away. Luis Robert up the middle. That one will go for a hit. And the White Sox lead it 5-4. A rocket, 116 off the bat of Lubob. So the White Sox are back ahead as we go bottom 4. The hope is that we can get multiple innings from Hagen Smith as Gerard Encarnacion hits it into center. Robert cannot make the play. It'll go off the wall, and Encarnacion will start the inning with a double. And now Minnesota has a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Michael Massey up for the Twins. Lefty on lefty, and it's Hagen Smith who wins the battle. Hagen Smith just a couple years ago, I think was, second or third in strikeouts in the AL. As David Santos will get that one to drop. Why did Braden Montgomery not try to catch it? He walked over to the ball and let it drop. I mean, that is unacceptable defensive effort. That's an easy catch. What was he doing? Yanquiel Fernandez chases the fastball. Hagen Smith basically has to get 4 outs because Braden Montgomery is lollygagging in the outfield. And that ends up being the difference of a run scoring because Carlos Correa bloops in a hit and we're tied at 5. Kids, make sure to hustle, especially in a big game like this. Brooks Lee pops it up into foul territory, so it looks like Minnesota will only get 1 off of the bad play by Montgomery. It'll be ruled as an earned run for Hagen Smith, which isn't entirely fair as we move into the 5th. Shane Schmidt, first place for Rookie of the Year voting, even though Richie Tackett's WAR is doubled his and Antoine Sonnenberg's is tripled. I'm not complaining, though, as Schmidt lines this one into right, and that one is gone! 368 feet, the White Sox immediately back ahead. Maybe that's why he's the Rookie of the Year frontrunner in the American League. 21st home run of the year as he looks to join Edgar Caro as the second White Sox within the last 3 years to take in the honor. So it's now a 6-5 ball game. That ball did not go very high in the air. It was just hit hard, and it just kept on moving. Ketel Marte wants seconds. This one's a no-doubter. Onto the second deck, 454 feet. Ignited off the bat of Marte as he one-ups Shane Schmidt with his 22nd home run of the year. So Joe Nathan allows back-to-back homers, the two of them off in distance by roughly 100 feet. Marte with a no-doubter. Schmidt with a wall scraper. But all home runs are created equal, right? Oswaldo Escobedo will not make it 3 straight homers, but he does get a base hit, continuing his extremely productive afternoon with the 2 sacrifices and now a hit. Brayden Montgomery looking to make up for his defensive miscue in the bottom of the 4th as he singles into center. Waldo makes it over to third. That's 4 consecutive base runners to start the inning for the White Sox. Why is Minnesota not taking Tanya out of the game? He's clearly struggling right now. 3-2 for Douglas Cato. And he goes down looking. That's a hat trick. 0 for 3, 3 Ks. Give Joe Nathan credit. He's really fighting back. 2 away, 1-2 for Cam Smith. He's got a couple of hits. As this ball is at high and somewhat well into right, but not well enough. We had 2 runners aboard with nobody out and couldn't score them, but it certainly was not a failure of an inning. Back-to-back homers by Schmidt and Marte have us up 7-5 as Jagger Haynes comes out of the pen for Chicago, and much like Hagen Smith, we know he can give us multiple innings as needed. Matt Wallner goes down on the outside slider. Andrew Vaughn now up for the Twins. 2-2, chases the pitch in the dirt. Jagger Haynes looking good early as he retires the first 2 on strikes, looking to punch out the side. 1-2 on the way for the catcher, Ryan Jeffers, and he goes down on the low changeup. Those low pitches completely fooling Minnesota this inning as it remains 7-5. Out of the bullpen for the Twins will be Dauri Moreta. 3.49 ERA this season. He's been perfectly solid. As we will start with Luis Robert. Drove in a run his last at bat in the 4th. He goes down on the fastball. Good pitch for the first out of the frame. Shane Schmidt homered his last time up. 21. That leads all rookies as he chases the low circle change. Good inning for Moreta. He retires the side and will go to the bottom half. Haynes will stay in the game. A little lefty-on-lefty action with Michael Massey. That one gets by the diving glove of Ketel Marte for a single into left. Runner aboard with 1 away from Minnesota as they look to clap back. David Santos on the ground, could be 2. Smith, Escobedo, over to Schmidt. 5-4-3, inning-ending double play. Good work by the infield. 2 really strong innings from Jagger Haynes as we go into the 7th. Dennis the Menace Santana is out of the bullpen for the Twins. He gets Ketel Marte, who homered in his last at-bat to go down on the fastball. Oswaldo Escobedo now up for Chicago behind 1-2, and he goes down looking. 96 on the 4-seamer. Santana looking to strike out this side. It's Bimo. Brayden Montgomery hits this one high and deep and a left. At the track, at the wall, it's caught. We nearly had another homer for Montgomery. Would have been his 3rd within the last 2 games. Bottom 7, Haynes stays in. He's pitched really well through 2 innings, and I think we can get 1 more out of him as he gets Yanquiel Fernandez to go down looking. Carlos Correa, 3 for 3. How about another? Bloops into right center. He didn't hit it very hard, but still a base hit. He's 4 for 4 today. Brooks Lee now up for the Twins, and this one is grounded right over to second. 4-6-3. Inning-ending double play. Good snag at first by Schmidt. That was not a great throw by Ketel Marte, but Schmidt's able to come down with it. James McArthur out of the bullpen for Minnesota here in the 8th. 2.56 ERA. He has been very solid this year. Kyle Teal coming in off the bench. He got the day off, and Teal looks to take advantage. Over the glove of the third baseman for an opposite field base hit. Teal's played a lot as of recent. I wanted to give him the 1 day off prior to a big road series against the A's, although we do get a nice swing from him off the bench. Cam Smith goes down looking on the high fastball. Luis Robert down 1-2 with 2 away, and he swings and misses at the curveball. Good pitch by McArthur. Both pitching staff have definitely looked better as the game has gone along. We'll go bottom 8. Carlos Estevez is in for the White Sox. While Ezra's playing his worst ball of the year, Estevez has been at his best over the last month or so. He's played really well. The ERA down to 2.5 as King Vaughn hits it into right. It goes off the wall. Bimo gets to it quickly. Vaughn, head first slide into second with a 1-out double. And the Twins will get the tying run at the plate. 2 away. Gerard Encarnacion into right. Montgomery makes the play. It will remain 7-5 as we go into the ninth. The White Sox 1 inning away from completing what would be a massive sweep against Minnesota. Clay Holmes will pitch for the Twins. 4.35 ERA this year. Edgar Caro swinging a miss on the slider. Minnesota knows 2 runs is already a hard enough deficit as is. They cannot dig themselves deeper into this hole. 2-2. Marte grounds it up the middle. Correa makes the play. Throw to first is in time. So Minnesota gets through it. 7-5. They're going to need 2. And we are going to roll with Ezra Valenzuela. As much as he's not been good over the last month or so, but especially the last week, his ERA is up to 3.5. I still feel like we've got to trust him. At his best, he's one of the best closers in baseball. We've got to stick by our guy. 9-1-2 hitters. Michael Massey swinging a miss on the inside cutter. Good start for Ezra. 2 away now. The Twins quickly down to their final strike. Yanquiel Fernandez singles into center. Okay, hold on a minute. This game is not quite over, especially when you consider who's next up. Carlos Correa is 4 for 4 this afternoon. He's hot. Ezra Valenzuela obviously is not, with his play over the last week or so and his ERA skyrocketing. He's still got to keep it in the strike zone, though. You do not want to let the tying run aboard. The runner at first is kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It's Correa, who's the big one because he would tie the game. Swings and misses at the curveball. Count is even, 2-2. Ezra kicks, deals, grounded up the middle. What a play! Waldo in time! The White Sox walk into Minnesota's trap and take over their trap. Bring out the brooms. A clean sweep for Chicago, who now leads 4.5 games in the division. What a play by Oswaldo Escobedo to finish off the job and win it for the White Sox. Hagen Smith gets the win, 3 for 5. Ketel Marte, homer and a double. Shane Schmidt, 2 for 4. Multiple hits for Julks. Multiple hits for Cam Smith. I thought Waldo played really well, too. He went 1 for 2, pair of sacrifice flies, and then the big defensive play at the end. Drew Thorpe was really bad. He allowed 8 hits in 2 1/3 innings. Bullpen was rock solid for the most part, though. You can clearly tell the difference right now between Drew Thorpe and these relievers. As for Minnesota, kind of the same deal. Zebby Matthews was not good, but the bullpen had a really strong showing. The offenses played really well early and then significantly cooled off. So at 77-67, we are firmly now in the driver's seat. 4.5 up on Minnesota, at least 6 up on everyone else. So far today, through our first 3 series, we're 8-2. We took 2 against the Giants, swept Cleveland, took 2 against Minnesota. After these next 3 games against the A's, the schedule gets a lot easier. We are playing really well in these tough matchups. Here against the A's, we'll hop into the first game. It's 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th. Bases loaded. Dre Jameson against Estevan Feliz for, I guess, Sacramento, we can still call them, as he goes down looking. On the fastball. Big pitch by Dre Jameson. 2 away now for Daenerys De La Cruz. The 0-1 grounded over to second. Marte quickly throw to first in time. And the A's leave the bases loaded. It's nice being on the opposite end once and for all. We'll get another opportunity in this game. Bottom of the 9th. Cole Young reaches base. Ezra Valenzuela now out of the bullpen looking for the save. Feliz leads things off. That one is grounded past the glove of Marte for a hit. Ezra did not allow the initial runner, keep in mind. So this is the first guy he's led on. But now there's 2 on, nobody out. De La Cruz goes for the bunt. Not a great bunt, so we're going to try to get 2, and we do not. De La Cruz beats out the throw. So it's only a fielder's choice. Runners on the corners, 1 away. Double play would end the game here. That works too. Denzel Clark swinging a miss on the low curveball. Darrell Hernaiz up the middle. Ezra with the scoop, and that'll do it. The red-hot White Sox win again. For those counting at home, that's now 4 in a row for Chicago. 8 of our last 9. Kyle Teal, 2 for 4, 2-run shot. Marte homers again, back-to-back games. Noah Schultz, 5 1/3, 2 earned runs. Not great, but given how he's played this year, hard to be too upset as he outplays the former White Sox, Dean Kremer. So we won the second game, 7-0. We're up in the third game, 11-0, and Corey Julks is a triple shy of the cycle. Talk about peaking at the right time. Sure, Julks strikes out, but this team is clearly playing their best baseball down the stretch this year. I mean, we outscored them 18-1 in the final two games, sweeping a good athletics team on the road. We just took a 6-game road trip against two playoff teams and went 6-0. Colson Montgomery homers twice. Julks goes deep. Smith goes deep. Caro brings in multiple runs. Bryce Miller plays really well. Through our hard part of the schedule, we just went 11-2, including, again, 6-0 on the road. In the 7-0 game, Shane Schmidt homer drove in 4. Montgomery brought in the other 3, while Taj Bradley gives us 7 shutty. Now, Minnesota swept their opponent, so it's still a 4.5-game deficit. But on the bright side, we're looking closer and closer to clinching a playoff spot. We're currently 6 games up on the Mariners, who are the first team out. So now we've got 3 games against the Rockies. We've gotten to the easier part of the schedule. Barney Wagner in AAA is starting to play better. And because of that, I think it's time. We're going to call him up. The number 2 overall pick in the 2027 draft, I think Barney Wagner is the perfect fit for the lineup as Chase Meidroth will go back down to AAA. I do want to get Brian Ramos back up at some point. He just hasn't been all that impressive in the minors. If we do make the playoffs, which is looking increasingly likely, I do believe Ramos has a spot on the playoff roster. We're going to have a lot of tough decisions. Barney Wagner certainly will be one of those tough calls. I think we're going to play him every day. He's going to bat 9th, kind of as the second leadoff guy, given his ability to get on base. The number 2 ranked prospect in the system, the 3rd ranked third baseman, and the 26th overall prospect in baseball. Him and Shane Schmidt have been the 2 prospects who we've been waiting for. Sure, Schmidt is a little bit better in terms of rating, but with draft capital, Barney Wagner was the guy drafted 2nd overall, the highest drafted player of the entire series. He'll bat 9th and be the DH in his debut. He'll switch off between DH and third base. He's not a great defensive player. He can play short. Not very good at it, though. As we hop into the first of 3 against the Rockies here at home, we're going to player lock all 3 of these games with Barney Wagner. I want to be able to get as many swings in with him as possible. The team is obviously playing some great baseball. We've won 6 games in a row. We have won 10 of our last 11, and in this episode, we're 11-2. Now we get to the easy part of the schedule with our last 15 games against only teams who are under 500. We do not play a team above 500 for the remainder of the regular season. Wagner in AAA hit .293, OPS at .837, more walks than strikeouts. He has a grown man approach to hitting. He's only 22 years old, but he has the approach at the plate of a 32-year-old. Hayden Wesneski on the bump, 1.58 ERA. A lot of offense early. We lead 2-1 with homers by Julks and Escobedo. Runner at first base, 2 away against the lefty. Carson Palmquist as the first pitch is inside for a ball. Wagner's a little better against lefties. His contact rating sits at 91. 1-0 pitch on the way from Palmquist. This one is hit well. Splits the third baseman of the shortstop. Barney Wagner's first career big league at bat ends with a base hit. A 93-mile-an-hour single into left. First of probably a lot of base hits in the big league career of Barney Wagner, as his fellow rookie Shane Schmidt will come out to retrieve the baseball. Both of these guys hopefully mainstays and anchors in our lineup for years to come. 4-1 now. Marte RBI on a walk. Escobedo drives in another run off of a single. And look at this. The bases are loaded. This is Barney's first test as a member of the White Sox against Michael McGreevy. Rips the first pitch into right field for a hit. We're going to bring in only 1 as it's 5-1. Barney Wagner drives in his first big league RBI. He's 2 for 2 in his big league debut. Now it's 9-1, an offensive explosion for the White Sox, who are coming off a game where they scored 11. We might one-up that. First pitch, crushed into right center field. That one goes off the wall. Wagner, an RBI double. It'll bring home another run, and it's 10-1. What a debut for Barney Wagner. He's 3 for 3 here in the 4th inning. The last 3 pitches he's seen have all been hits. This is a guy who goes through long at-bats. He's not doing that today. He's swinging at the first pitch and crushing it. Schmidt with a homer. It's now 11-1 here in the 6th against Brody Becht. We'll see if Wagner can make it 4 for 4 or maybe 4 straight pitches with a hit. Okay, the streak is over as he looks at the first pitch for a strike. Count is 0-1 here for Barney Wagner. And this one is hit up the middle. Are you kidding? 4 for 4. Barney Wagner's a guy who I want to see if he can prove he belongs on the playoff roster. So far, this is a pretty darn good first impression. He'll get one more at bat in the 8th. 11-1, looking for his 5th hit of the game. Brody Becht's still in. Wagner, obviously a guy who can really go through counts. He hasn't really been able to today because he's mashing the ball early. But now he's ahead 3-1, not swinging at anything bad. Wagner hits that one well into left, but it's caught. Unfortunately, Wagner is retired for the first time in his big league career. It took 5 at-bats to finally get him out. The White Sox win the game 11-2, and the hottest team in baseball will not stop their reign of terror. That is 7 consecutive wins for Chicago, who is just playing out of their minds right now. As I mentioned earlier in the series against the A's, this team is peaking at the right time. We played 500 baseball for most of the year, but now we're really coming along. Everybody hit the ball. I mean, it's contagious right now. Wagner 4 for 5. Escobedo 3 for 5, 3 runs. Schmidt goes deep. Julks goes deep. Wisniewski 5 solid innings. Everybody on the team is mashing the baseball. 7 wins in a row. During the win streak, we've scored at least 6 runs 6 times. No one's playing better than us right now, as that'll bring us into the second game. We're 81-67, meaning that if we win this game or any of our final 14, we will finish the season above 500. Second career big league game for Barney Wagner. It will be hard to top the first, going 4 for 5, driving in a pair of runs. Wagner, we did not get to see him go through his at-bats because he was just crushing the baseball. 6.5 game lead in the division. The Twins have lost 2 in a row. The magic number is getting smaller and smaller for the White Sox, who appear to be very close to clinching this division for the first time in the series. Here's a look at both lineups. Here's a look at Drew Thorpe. His last outing was a complete disaster against Minnesota, where he got completely shelled. But lucky for him, he should have a lot of run support. Again, we scored at least 6 runs in 6 of our last 7 game win streak. And we've scored at least 6 in at least 8 of our last 10. I mean, this offense is just looking unbelievable right now. Corey Julks hit a leadoff homer. Wagner looks at the first pitch, but now is behind 1-2. Grounds this one over to short. That was the perfect pitch to hit. A meatball down the middle from Hunter Barco. Another lefty, and again, Wagner prefers playing against left-handed pitching. 2-0 now. Ketel Marte RBI single. Drew Thorpe looks phenomenal. 5 innings. He's allowed 2 hits, no walks, no runs. As Wagner goes down looking. Good pitch by Barco. Low, painted on the inside corner as it's now 5-0. Now the offense is starting to come alive. It took a little bit. Wagner, the 0-1, pops it up into right where it is caught by Charlie Condon, the former Georgia Bulldog. Wagner's SEC rival, having played at the University of Texas. We will travel now into the 8th. 7-1. Lou Bob RBI double. Cam Smith RBI double. Victor Vodnik is in out of the bullpen. Wagner looking to avoid going 0 for 4. As that one is hit up the middle. Vodnik with the scoop. Play is made. Much more uneventful second game for Barney Wagner. But the offense continues to dominate. We score 7 more runs. The win streak goes up to 8. We are now 15 games above 500, despite the fact that we were exactly 500 going into the trade deadline. And even today, we were only 4 games above 500. The team is 12-2. Actually, I lied. 13-2 to start the video. That's insane. We are playing better than anybody in Major League Baseball. And again, we've picked the right time to do it. Julks the only homer. Marte, Caro, Lubob, Smith, Julks all bring home runs. And then Drew Thorpe had his best game of the year. 7 2/3, only allowing 1 run. Can we get more of that, por favor? So the team has now won 8 in a row. The offense is completely shoving. And the magic number is getting smaller and smaller. It's 7 within the division. It would be 7 for the wild card spot because Minnesota's the first team out, currently tied with Seattle. At this point, it's like, forget the division. We might get the number 2 seed. We are 82 and 67. 6-7. The Orioles are 82 and 66. I thought for much of the year there was no chance we would catch them, especially with them sweeping us at the end of August. But we now have it within half a game as we go into the third and final matchup against the Rockies, looking for another sweep, looking to bring the win streak up to a season-high 9 games. A familiar face on the bump, though, for the Rockies. It is Bryce Wilson, who we had in Season 1, had a great year for us. Traded him to the Padres for a couple of prospects, including Jagger Haynes. He has been a bright spot for the White Sox. Over his last 8 starts, he's 6-0, 1.8 ERA, .96 whip. Remember when he got busted for steroids with the Padres? Well, clearly those did not alter his performance, and he just actually happens to be good. Or maybe he was doing them again and has not been caught. Noah Schultz on the bump for the White Sox. Barney Wagner will again bat 9th. He will play third base today, his first outing defensively. As we go bottom 3, scoreless start. Noah Schultz doing his thing while Bryce Wilson continues his impressive season. First pitch of the AB, Wagner hits it high, not all that deep though into center, as it is caught for the second out of the inning. Wagner started 4 for 4. Since then, he's really cooled off. He's 0 for his last 6. Deshaun Kiersey Jr., RBI double. The Rockies lead 3-0. As Wagner puts it on the ground. It's been tough sledding for the offense. I mean, our offense is playing so well. It's hard to be too upset having one bad day as Kiersey brings in another run, making it 4-0 into the top of the 8th. And our long win streak appears to be in major jeopardy. Wagner, the 1-1, hits it well into right. That one will go for a hit. Finally, the hitless streak is done for Wagner. And sure enough, the White Sox would score 4. Kyle Teal, 2-run double. Edgar Caro, 2-run homer. And we hit the winning run 90 feet away from home with 2 away in the bottom of the 9th. Barney Wagner looks to win it against the lefty. And Sam Long. Wagner rips the first pitch. High and deep into right. But it is caught. And we are headed to extras. Honestly, I'm still impressed we made the comeback, though. I thought this was going to be one of those games where we kind of take it easy. We've played really well. Everyone's due for an off day, but not us, apparently. Bottom of the 11th, you may or not be able to watch the final out, so I figure we might as well watch. Edgar Caro looking to walk the game off for good against Sam Long, who is still in. Normally, we don't get to watch these. It's kind of fun doing it from the dugout. As Caro hits this ball well into left field, and it is caught? I thought that was the final out of the game. Apparently not. We do get Luis Robert to tag up to third, however, as that'll bring up Shane Schmidt with 1 away. All right, let's try this again. Shane Schmidt really just has to hit the ball solid, and that'll be enough to win the game. Victor Vodnik out of the bullpen. The 1-2 for Schmidt, looking to walk it off for the White Sox, and he hits this ball well into right center. That should be more than enough room. Luis Robert on the tag, play at the plate. Oh my goodness, you've got to be kidding me! Double play, Brenton Doyle throws out the runner. I thought we had the game won twice. Why would you lie to me, MLB The Show? I was told it'd be the final out. Apparently not. We had 2 chances there and blew it both times. So now we're going to go all the way to the bottom of the 13th. Still tied at 4. Both offenses are laying an egg. Both bullpens are pitching out of their minds. And Barney Wagner has a chance to be the hero, leading off the inning with a runner at second. Wagner swinging a miss. 97 from Victor Vodnik. Now the 1-2. Wagner looking to walk off his final game in his first career home series, but he lines it out to short. Now we would have another chance here with the final out scenario. I'm not going to make the same mistake a third time. We're just going to simulate. Corey Julks walks it off. We get the win 5-4. Caro, 2 for 4 homer, brings home a pair. Edgar Caro has been really, really solid since July. His final counting numbers are not going to look great, but he's had a really good couple of months. Bryce Wilson, 7 scoreless, and then Patino in the 8th, largely because of an error, loses the game. Cam Smith with a triple. Teal brings home 2. Noah Schultz was okay, and the bullpen did their thing. So 83 and 67. We are 8 games up on Minnesota for the final wild card spot and in the division. That's with 12 games to go. The magic number is now at 4. The win streak, meanwhile, is at 9, and our record in today's episode is 14 and 2. In the first game against the Rays, the offense refuses to slow down. 14 to 4. Big league home run number 1 for Barney Wagner, while Taj Bradley gets the win against his former team. Game 2, we trail 7 to 2. Could the Linsanity run finally be over with the win streak now at 10 games? Kyle Teal has a 12-game hitting streak on the line, facing off against fellow lefty Shane McClanahan. Full count, draws a walk. We didn't get the hit, but it was a good at-bat. Teal looked at all 6 pitches. He didn't swing once. He'll get one more chance in the 9th. The White Sox down to their final out. Now down to the final strike. It's 0-2 against David Bednar. That one is blooped up into the air, and that one's going to fall. The hit streak continues for Kyle Teal up to 13 games. Unfortunately, unlike when we were down 4-0 against the Rockies, there's no comeback. The White Sox win streak snaps at 10. The Rays get the win 7-2. Not our best performance, but it's hard to be upset. Everybody has an off day. We've played unbelievably well during the month of September. We can afford to lose this one. Good outing, though, for the Rays. 7 runs, 11 hits on the bump. Really solid outing from Shane McClanahan. 8 innings, only allowing the 2 runs. The offense just did not get enough base runners. 5 hits, 2 walks. Not good enough. Bryce Miller was Bullpen was worse than So now we're looking to win the rubber match. We're up 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Low-scoring, competitive game. Kyle Teal's hit streak again on the line. Now looking for 14. The 1-2, that one is popped up into the air. Doesn't really go too far, as Junior Caminero will make the play. Teal would not get any more at-bats. There would not be any more runs scored, as the White Sox get the win 2-1. So we take 2 of 3 against the Rays. I will gladly take that, pushing us up to, 17 and 3 now for the episode? That is crazy. Not a great game for us offensively. We only had 5 hits, 3 of which were by Shane Schmidt, who also had a walk and a homer. He was the only guy we needed on offense, but that's fine. We got Hayden Wisniewski. 6 more scoreless innings. The magic number down to 3 within the division, and it's down to 2 in terms of a wild card spot. So, coming into the episode, I planned on doing what I did last year, saving the final couple of series for the very end for the suspense. Well, I didn't anticipate we'd go 17 and 3. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of suspense. It looks like we have the division on lockdown. I'm still going to save these last 9 games for the next episode, though. I kind of want next episode to feel like a celebration, because it's been 5 years. Finally, we're probably going to make the playoffs. So I want to keep these 9 games on their own and truly enjoy it and celebrate what we've built here just in time for the postseason. We are still playing for something. The number 2 seed, the Orioles, are a half a game ahead of us. Now, teams who have had the bye have not historically fared well in the MLB playoffs, but I'd rather not have a best-of-3 series determine our fate either. That'll wrap things up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hype the video. Peace out.